Okay. Today we're going to take some time to talk about a guy that we haven't really talked about in a while.
Yeah.
Of course, Vince McMahon.
Yep.
We're going to address him today. This is a guy that took over Vince Sr.'s WWF.
Yep.
And made a small territory a global phenomenon.
Wow.
Over a couple of decades.
Yep.
This guy, he took WrestleMania, the concept of WrestleMania, and he made it happen.
Yep.
He gambled everything that he had on WrestleMania 1. And it was a huge smash hit.
It was.
He took WrestleMania 2 to 3 different venues.
Yep.
Once again, huge hit. So for WrestleMania 3, he decided he was going to do something revolutionary. And he was going to put it all on the line so that he could sell out 90,000 people. And it was a success.
Yep.
He turned a small territory into a global phenomenon.
Absolutely.
He changed the way pro wrestling did business.
He pushed the Survivor Series. He did the Royal Rumble. You know, he did SummerSlam. And all those big four, I mean, every time those events were huge. And they always delivered, you know, especially growing up as a kid. I couldn't wait for any of them, you know.
He took a young Mark Calloway.
Yes.
And he turned him into a huge superstar.
The Undertaker.
And made him The Undertaker.
Awesome.
He took a guy that originally wasn't pushed as a top guy, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yep.
And he helped him become the Game.
Yep.
He helped Austin become one of the top draws, biggest superstars in the history of this business. He helped do so much. When I was a kid, I remember looking forward so much to every pay-per-view.
Yep.
I would watch the pay-per-views on a messed up screen.
Yep, I would too.
I wouldn't
Just so I could hear it.
Because I was too young. I didn't have any money.
Yep.
I would watch the pay-per-views on a messed up screen so I could just hear the commentary, so I could just finally figure out the outcome. There was that much build-up.
Yep.
There was that much hype.
Yep.
And it always continued like that. From when I was starting to grow up in my teenage years, every month, no matter what was going on in my life, no matter how many friends I was losing, no matter what was going on, it always stayed the same.
Yep.
Every month, pay-per-view to look forward to, a way for me to escape my life.
Yep. And
live indirectly through the wrestlers.
Absolutely. You know, and I had the same feeling. It's just when you know things weren't working out at home, or when you're having stress or problems or whatever, you know, you always had a pay-per-view to look forward to. You always had Raw. You always had something that would help you get through that, you know. And that's how wrestling was, and that's why me and Bill are both so attached to wrestling, you know. And so, like, when I remember Vince McMahon, you know, I remember getting in arguments with guys that would boo him. I'm like, that guy's God. Don't boo him. He's the man. He's the reason why you're here. It's like, no, his father is. It's like, bull crap. It's not his father, because his father didn't take it on that big of a mainstream scale. Vince is the reason.
I was there for some of those arguments.
I loved Vince. All I wanted to do was shake the man's hand.
That was my dream.
That was my dream.
Meet Vince.
But then something happened. The product that I loved, that I cared so much about, started to become a little bit different. And then I noticed that some of the wrestlers that I really liked stopped getting pushed or weren't even a factor. And then these guys that I was never that impressed with got pushed. And I noticed that when you have guys like, you know, Vince's bodyguard backstage beating up on the weaker guys who got no pay-per-view time ever unless it was some 24/7 hardcore match, John Bradshaw Layfield become champion, started to realize that, guess what? The belt doesn't mean much anymore. And guess what? WWE doesn't have much honor in their product. So, my question is, Bill, is Vince really a genius?
Vince is a genius, Doug. And let me tell you why he's a genius. Because he made himself a billionaire, a huge multi-millionaire smash hit company off of other people's hard work.
Thank you.
He took Paul Heyman's ECW.
And
he took his concepts, turned it into the Attitude Era.
He took Eric Bischoff's 12-month pay-per-view plan and took it and did your In Your House, and then he decided to turn in, and then he wanted to claim it as himself. Okay? He made his company so freaking huge that he had to split it up in 3 different divisions, and all of a sudden, none of the champions had any credibility whatsoever. He started pushing guys that had absolutely no wrestling ability, and just because they're a presence or, you know, some type of attraction, that they get the championship title.
Let's go over this just real quick so even you people at home who don't have much of an education can understand it. Because I'm tired of having to explain this over and over and over again. WCW, ECW, and the WWF were around. Then, when they all monopolized, WWF bought them all out.
Yep.
Became one brand.
Yep.
A lot of people say that the alliance gimmick didn't work out. I really enjoyed it. But in most aspects, I can understand why they would feel it did not work out. Then, Vince McMahon was saved by, one, Eric Bischoff's general manager surprise on Raw, and the return of Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
That is what saved his ass.
He pushed everything into Brock Lesnar, and when Brock Lesnar left, he had nothing. So guess what? The next superstar created? Randy Orton. Mick Foley helped create Randy Orton. The Intercontinental title run helped create Randy Orton. Evolution helped create Randy Orton. Then what did they do? They had him job to Triple H, and he's never recovered since. And right now he's carrying around John Cena's spinner belt.
Yep.
So why am I supposed to believe he's a valuable champion? It's a bunch of crap. There's a laundry list of things. Okay, my thing is, Vince's vision for Steve Austin was the ringmaster. Absolutely terrible. Didn't fit his character at all. Stone Cold's the one that said, look, this isn't me. And then he let Stone Cold run with it. Okay, he's let Hulk Hogan run with his character. He let The Rock run with his character. Vince didn't create this stuff. Vince isn't a genius. He's claiming other people's genius. Okay? And you can tell that he's not a genius because when his competition went away, he had no ideas to steal, and look at the product now. And you know what's funny to me? What's funny to me is you're like, well, wait till Vince gets competition because then he'll get good again. So you're saying the guy's not capable of making his own decisions, the guy's not capable of making smart decisions to push his company, he has to steal other people's ideas to get good again. Awesome.
The problem is this. If you're Vince McMahon and you have the most money out of any company ever done in pro wrestling, you're the most largely profitable company, you're the most well-known company, why don't you have the best show? There is no excuse for not having the best show. If you don't have the best writers, you go out and you find the best writers. If you don't have the best talent, you go out and you find the best talent. But no. If Vince McMahon was such a genius, if he was such a genius, how come he picked John Bradshaw Layfield to have a 1-year title run with no build-up whatsoever?
Also, Booker T was in that mid-card title run too. Booker T is a way more believable champion, has huge push, but he never got it. And you want to know why? Because he's a WCW wrestler. Because Vince doesn't want to take a WCW, something that he didn't create, which makes no sense to me because he loves taking other people's creations and calling it his own. Why not take Booker T? Why not take RVD? You go, yeah, you gave RVD the title. If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why on earth would he have a match with God and have promos in a church? I mean, are you freaking kidding me?
No, Doug. If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why would he have a 3-month storyline leading up to what would finally be his long-lost son, Hornswoggle, who is a midget leprechaun that's getting pushed over 80% of their roster? Gotta suck to be a WWE fan these days.
If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why does he think that people would order WrestleMania? Because he might lose his hair.
Yep.
If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why would he not push a talent like Christian Cage?
If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why would he not give Kurt Angle time off to recover from his neck injury and make him a world champion because he is the best wrestler in the company? But instead, he keeps the belt on John Cena. If Vince McMahon was such a genius, why was his plans for this year's WrestleMania, actually it would be last year's WrestleMania, to be Triple H versus John Cena again?
Wow. Wow, that's original.
Yeah, very original. That was original as last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah. If Vince McMahon was such a genius, then how do you go from having your champions be Bret Hart, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mick Foley, Triple H?
Where are those new guys? Where's the new Stone Cold Steve Austin? Where's the new Rock? Where's the new Triple H? Where's the new Mick Foley?
I'll tell you.
Where's the new Chris Jericho?
I'll tell you the new Rock is John Cena.
Oh yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Or it could be The Miz.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's an up and comer. Watch out for him because he was on Real World, so he's pop culture, so he's already way ahead of the game.
Yep.
Okay. We have Batista. Okay.
Got Batista now.
Awesome. Okay. We have Lashley. Nope. Wait. He quit.
This is so much fun. I'm sorry, guys. This is too much fun.
Well, what else we got?
Well, let's look at the main event picture here. Hold on. It's pretty bad when you have to think about main event talent, by the way.
Why did it take Edge? Why do you have to have every single main eventer be kicked out for Edge to become a main eventer?
And why is Edge on SmackDown making out with Vicky Guerrero?
Wow. Yeah.
Why is Armando Alejandro Estrada the general manager of ECW? He had nothing to do with ECW.
Why were freaking 6 teenage teeny boppers brought in as cheerleaders and been pushed in the main event to feud with a returning DX? Are you kidding me? Are we really supposed to be that excited about DX returning when they're feuding with the Spirits?
And not only that, they're 40 years old.
Yeah.
Both of them. And it's no disrespect to them because I like them as wrestlers. But they're 40 years old and you want them to act immature on TV again so we can sell some t-shirts.
And not just that, Shawn Michaels is a born-again Christian and doesn't even feel comfortable doing half the skits, and he has to leave the skit so Triple H can do it just so you can sell t-shirts.
But Doug, there is a positive light to this. There is a positive light to all of this from now on. From this point forward. You get to see Raw, ECW, and SmackDown all in HD.
And it doesn't matter how bad it is because it's in HD. It's pop culture.
Yeah.
Because that's what WWE is. It's pop culture. There is no more wrestling. It's totally sold out. If you watch it, you're a sellout.
Yeah.
There's another company, though. Because when we went to Dallas in the house show, we heard passion. We heard
emotion.
Pissed off people. And we heard people that loved what they saw. And you know who else was there? Sign Guy. Sign Guy was at the TNA show.
Ooh, we shouldn't have said that.
Well, I don't know if we want to leak that out. But Sign Guy was there. And guess what? He didn't bring a sign. He didn't care about being on TV. He just wanted to see great wrestling.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about.
The WWE doesn't care about pro wrestling. They are no longer a wrestling-based program. They sold you out. They sold you. Yes, you looking at me right now. They sold you out so that they can have the opportunity to be next to Britney Spears in a picture, or put their next big talent next to Rambo in a picture, or be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, or whatever. They sold you out for more attention. They sold you out so that they could draw in the casual fan.
Yep. And what did they do? They sent you to a place where they said, you know what? You're going to watch our product no matter what because we're the only thing around. We're the big show. People are going to watch us because we're the WWE. Well, guess what? TNA is coming. TNA is touring all over the country. TNA is the new thing. And once people get a taste of it, once people feel that, it's on. It's not... we've proven Vince McMahon is not the genius that he's made out to be, because when you get older, you get smarter, and you look back in retrospect and you think, wow, he really didn't create Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he really didn't create The Rock, he didn't create Hulk Hogan, he didn't create Triple H. And you know why? Because he hasn't created any new stars. Nothing that's over like those guys were. And that is my point. My point is Vince McMahon is nothing to be afraid of, and TNA is where it is at.